Hello and welcome to Learn French with Dr. Krabby. I am Dr. Krabby and I have a PhD in comparative literature and over 10 years of experience teaching French as a second language in Canada and in Germany. It is my goal to make education accessible to all. Today we will talk about verb moods and verb tenses. So without further ado, let's jump in. In your study of French or in your study of any other Romance language, you may have encountered a verb table like this one. In a book like the Becherel, which is the best book for French verb conjugations, or online or in language learning apps, and you may feel intimidated, perhaps even overwhelmed by the sheer amount of verb conjugations that you see. And that's completely normal, but fear not, it's not as complicated as it looks. And I hope this will help by breaking it down for you, making it easier to tackle by looking at the two major components of verbs, namely verb tenses, verb moods. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'un mode et qu'est-ce qu'un temps? What is a mood? What is a tense? Le mode dénote la façon dont un verbe est exprimé et conceptualisé. The mood denotes the way in which a verb is expressed and conceptualized. On the other hand, le temps situe un verbe chronologiquement. The tense situates a verb chronologically. In other words, mood is for manner, tense is for time. So far, so good? So let's look at moods. Il y a 4 modes personnels. There are 4 personal moods. We call them personal because they are conjugated. So they change depending on the subject, on the personal pronoun, right? So we have l'indicatif, the indicative, which is the mood that everyone knows without even knowing that they know it. So this is the mood for reality, for descriptions, and for facts. So for example, tu vas, you go. The next one, le subjonctif, subjunctive. This mood is for uncertainty. You will notice that in 99% of the cases, you will see the pronoun que preceding the verb. So que tu ailles, for example. L'impératif, imperative. This mood is used for orders and for directions. Please keep in mind that it is only conjugated in the second person singular, the first person plural, and the second person plural. So tu, nous, and vous. Please also note that whenever it is employed, you do not write the personal pronoun when you use the imperative. So just va. And finally, le conditionnel, conditional. This mood is used for hypothetical situations and eventual realities. For example, tu irais. Keep in mind that if you look at more recent grammar books, often you will see that conditional is included within indicative. That is up to debate. It is a very big discussion happening in scientists of grammar, grammatology, and I'm sure that it's not very interesting for you when you're just trying to learn the language. It's interesting for nerds like me, but for the sake of clarity, we will just keep it separate for now. There are also 3 impersonal moods, 3 modes impersonnels. You will have guessed that we mean that they are not conjugated. So l'infinitif, infinitive, aller, the basic unconjugated form of the verb. Le participe, so le participe présent or le participe passé, the past participle and the present participle. Example, aller. And le gérondif, en allant. Please don't worry too much about these 3 impersonal moods. They're not too important for us when we study the language. What is important is those 4, because we need to learn how to use them and how to conjugate them properly. All good for moods? So let's go over to tenses. Chaque mode contient 2 4 ou 8 temps. Each mood contains 2, 4, or 8 tenses, depending on the mood. So you can have le présent, l'imparfait, le passé composé, le futur simple, and so on and so forth. So let's go back to our previous example of a table of conjugation of verb. So the same one that we used. So you see there are a lot of conjugations here, and they are broken down in different moods. So we have indicatif here, subjonctif, imperatif, and conditional that they included within indicative because this is a recent book. Okay, and you see that there are a lot of them, but keep in mind that passé simple in the indicative, passé antérieur in the indicative, imparfait in the subjunctive, and plus que parfait in the subjunctive are not used in current modern French. They are literary tenses, so you will never encounter them or ever need to use them unless you study literature or Old French. So please do not worry about those. So you can see there are only just a few more verbs out there that you have to learn, and a lot of them have overlaps. Okay, so please do not worry too much about having to learn all of these individual conjugations. Once you see the patterns, once you see the different boxes and categories, it makes it much easier to tackle. So I wish you the best of luck in your memorization and in your practice of those conjugations. So thank you for tuning in. Merci pour votre écoute. If you found this lesson useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And feel free to look me up on other platforms. Don't hesitate to leave a comment below if it helped you and to tell me what you would like me to teach next. Merci et passez une excellente journée. Au revoir.